Final day of the season. I feel like we got to run right into it. I haven't got long. Obviously, Premier League games are starting in just under 2 hours. So we'll start with match day 37, obviously, which was last week. Craven Cottage, Fulham 0, Manchester City 4. Manchester City in God mode at the moment. They're not going to lose another game this season. They are going to go on to win the Premier League, and it's pretty much shown now that they are one of the best teams in the history of the Premier League. 4 on the bounce is ridiculous. And yeah, they've got the best squad, got the best manager, and Fulham had nothing to play for. So effectively, it was always going to be a Manchester City win there. Everton 1, Sheffield United 0. That was from Goodison Park. Everton already safe, of course. Sheffield United already down. Again, a lot of these games are pretty meaningless. They don't mean much. It's more sort of, personal pride now. Everton coming out on top. They've been in a really good run of form as well. I think they're unbeaten in their last 5 at the moment now, and obviously their final game of the season is going to take place at the Emirates, where it's still all to play for Arsenal. They could obviously get a win there, and then hope for Manchester City to lose their last game of the season when they host West Ham. Speaking of West Ham beat Luton 3-1, effectively relegating Luton down to the Championship. I think Luton have a 17-goal deficit at the moment, so if they are to stay up, they're going to need Nottingham Forest to lose heavily, and then Luton obviously have to win quite heavily as well, which I personally do not see. So it's unfortunate that Luton's first time and only time in the Premier League is going to end in a bit of a whimper, to be quite honest with you. They did very well throughout the season, but obviously ultimately didn't have enough to get over the line. Bournemouth 1, Brentford 2. That was from the Vitality Stadium. Again, one of those games, not much to play for. I actually had Bournemouth to win this one. I wasn't expecting Brentford to obviously turn up. Brentford obviously did and got the 3 points, which obviously wasn't really needed for them because they were already safe about 2 weeks ago anyway. Ivan Toney hasn't hit the goal trail in his last 4, I believe. So I do anticipate him getting a goal final game of the season, because he could be off in the summer, of course. Wolverhampton versus Crystal Palace. That was from Molineux. Palace have hit their form seriously at the best time of the season. Eze playing out of his skin, Elise playing out of his skin, Mateta playing out of his skin. Palace have got a good foundation there, and if they can keep a few of those players, they could be in a really good position next season under their manager Glasner, who's come in and done magnificently well. And I do see Crystal Palace doing well if they obviously keep those players. So watch this space. So I do know Eze and Elise are targets for Spurs and Manchester United as well, respectively. Tottenham versus Burnley. That was from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 2-1 win for Spurs there. Again, not convincing. Tottenham haven't really been convincing since the turn of the year, to be quite honest with their results. They do concede every single game, and that has to be rectified. Obviously, Ange Postecoglou was a little bit upset sort of during the aftermath of the Manchester City game, even before then a little bit, because obviously he caught wind that the fans weren't really wanting to win the game, because obviously it would stop Arsenal winning the league. He's obviously had his say on it. Has since retracted that statement and apologised, but I don't think he was wrong in his assessment of it, to be quite honest with you, because I personally feel you should go out to win every game. It's just in this instance, you can't have Arsenal win the league. You just can't. It just can't happen. So that was the reason as to why he's obviously come out and said that. We'll obviously get into Manchester City Tottenham a little bit later on during this. Newcastle 1, Brighton 1 from St James's Park. Newcastle effectively cannot catch anyone in the top 5 now. Brighton obviously will be in the top 10. I think they're currently there now. I think so. So again, one of those games, not much really took place. Again, one of those watch these spaces. Brighton are going to part with De Zerbi, their manager, end of the season. Interesting to see where he goes after this stint. Eddie Howe, Newcastle will rebuild again, I'm sure. I'm pretty certain they may get Europe as well. So again, one of those where we'd have to obviously watch for. Alexander Isak still there, of course. Anthony Gordon. If again, Newcastle, one of those, if they've got a really good nucleus, and they do keep their players for next season, I think they could have a really good season again. Nottingham Forest 2, Chelsea 3, another one that's going to have another good season next season if they decide to keep Pochettino. Chelsea have turned it around since the turn of the year. I think they're third best team in the league when it comes to form, and got another important win at a very game Nottingham Forest. Forest obviously effectively saving themselves anyway, but they took the lead in this one actually against a really good Chelsea unit. But Chelsea decided to up their game a little bit in the second half and managed to nick the 3 points, which effectively puts them in the European places. They are currently 6th at the moment. And they could still catch Tottenham if Tottenham don't pick up their ideas against Sheffield United. A win for Chelsea and the Spurs loss could result in Chelsea finishing 5th. I personally don't think it will happen, but just know that those are the connotations that we are dealing with at the moment. Man United 0, Arsenal 1. United effectively couldn't get the job done against Arsenal. Arsenal going there with all the confidence in the world and picking up a nice 1-0 win. It was quite relaxed for them for quite some time. William Saliba was absolutely excellent at the back. Manchester United showing no real form of getting a goal. They could have been there all day. I don't see it happening. Big summer for Manchester United in terms of recruitment. The manager, obviously, future's in doubt. And obviously they're falling. The stadium is on the out as well. Currently falling down as we speak. Oh, mate, waterfalls and all that. But yeah, Manchester United have got a lot of work to do for the coming season. Aston Villa 3, Liverpool 3. That was from the Villa Park. That point effectively giving Villa Champions League football because Spurs couldn't overcome Manchester City, which we'll go into next. Liverpool, obviously, the Klopp farewell tour. Klopp's final game today. Yeah, it's going to be weird without him, to be fair. Obviously, Arne Slot's coming in now for the new season. He's coming in from Feyenoord as a champion. So he's going to try to keep the good times rolling for Liverpool, but I think it will be a tough job for him. Obviously, again, recruitment has to be right. Mo Salah is aging. Virgil van Dijk is aging as well, so he does have to manage that Liverpool side quite well. Aston Villa into the Champions League, they'll have a good summer. Unai Emery knows what he's doing. Unai Emery in Europe in general is a match made in heaven, so Aston Villa should have a really good campaign next season. On to the games midweek. There was a couple of them, obviously Tottenham 0, Manchester City 2, which I alluded to earlier. Tottenham losing that game 2-0. Manchester City obviously now one step closer to winning the league. Do have to beat West Ham today in order to make that come true. Brighton 1, Chelsea 2. That was from the Amex Stadium. Another good result for Chelsea, but Reece James getting himself sent off silly. Brighton again, nothing to play for. Chelsea still catching European places, and if they do win their game today and Spurs lose, they could be 5th. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 2, probably the best game in the week. Really good game actually. Manchester United taking the lead, Newcastle obviously coming back to make it 1 apiece, and then Man United going into overdrive and effectively taking the game away from Newcastle, even though Newcastle did get one more goal to make it 3-2. On to the final games today then. Going to whiz right through this with regards to predictions. Liverpool versus Wolves, that is from Anfield. I'm going to go with a Liverpool 3-0 win. Sheffield United versus Tottenham, that is from Bramall Lane. I'm going to go with a Tottenham 2-1 away win there. Luton Town versus Fulham from Kenilworth Road, that is a draw for me. I will go 2 apiece. Brighton versus Manchester United from the Amex. I'm going to go with a Brighton 2-1 win there. Manchester City versus West Ham. Manchester City will become champions. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Manchester City win here. Arsenal versus Everton from the Emirates. I do see Arsenal beating Everton 2-0. Brentford versus Newcastle from the G-Tech Stadium. I am going to go with a 2-2 draw there as well. I think there'll be goals all around today. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Again, Aston Villa already in the Champions League. Nothing effectively to play for. Neither of Crystal Palace. Home win there for me. 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. That is from Turf Moor. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw there. And then Chelsea versus Bournemouth, that is from Stamford Bridge. I'm going to go with a Chelsea 3, Bournemouth 1 result there. That is me now for the Premier League season. That's my last video for now. Obviously, we've got the Euros coming up in about 28 days, so I'll do a few videos, obviously, before then and then maybe during that as well. Try to enjoy your weekend, people. It is a nice day out there, so if you are going to be watching the football, try to watch it in somewhere warm. Head to a pub, out in your garden, whatever it is that you guys may do, enjoy it. And I'll look forward to speaking to you guys in a little while. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you in a bit.